Good morning, everyone. I'm Bagger Don at Stock Market Caddy. It is Saturday, February 4th at 10:45. If you have ever dreamed of trading for a living, trading for yourself, you want to listen to Fred's story. Not my story, but Fred's. And this is Fred. Let me introduce you to Fred. Now, I'm going to keep his privacy, but it's a great example of a person who is going to do some fantastic things in the market for himself and his family. I have no doubt. Fred contacted us at Stock Market Caddy back in December. And long story short, he's from Canada. I will just say that much. And he said to me, Don, I've been following you for months at Stock Market Caddy. And I have been trading for years. Been trading this and that, trading options. And he said I had never heard of anybody talking about profit factor or talking about some of the things that you'd been doing. He said I went back and I calculated my profit factor over the last couple of years, and sadly, Don, it's only at 0.8, and I've lost quite a bit of money. I'm kind of at my wit's end on this. I'm not sure I want to continue trading options. I'm not sure if futures could be helpful, but I'm just not sure. You know, Don, and this is in Fred's words, paraphrasing, he said, I'm familiar with your Q school, and I understand that you'll spend 3+ weeks with me. Can you explain more about that? And we did, where we spend 3+ weeks with a person, and it could be an hour or two every day or every other day, imparting to that person and for Fred how we approach and trade the markets and controlling the view that they see. It's a live Zoom feed. He said, you know, Don, if I was to do the Q school and I could have a profit factor of 1 to 2, he goes, I know you talk about having a higher profit factor, but if I could have just 1 to 2, I'd be pretty happy. If I had a profit factor of 2 to 3, boy, I'd be really happy. And Don, if I had a profit factor over 3, boy, if I could ever do that, Don, do you think I could do that? If I could do that, I would be ecstatic. Those were his words. And I said, well, Fred, I don't know what your outcome is going to be. I don't know. We talked at length. And in the end, I said, Fred, I can tell you this. I know you're going to learn a lot. I know you're not going to look at the markets the same way ever again when you finish the Q school. But I also know if you keep score in a simulated environment, we'll talk about that in a moment. If you keep score, you will answer that question for yourself. And all I ask is that you stay in a simulated environment and focus on the learning. You see, folks, I want to address this. Technology has come so far that if you are trading real money and you have not demonstrated to yourself in a simulated environment that you can in fact trade and make money, then you are a fool. Truly. You are reckless. And there is no way you would ever do that with my money. Let's look at other endeavors. Would you get in an airplane without having a mentor, without having somebody in the seat beside you for a period of time, without being in a flight simulator? I'm not getting in that plane with you. Do you think you can take a grand piano and roll it onto the stage at Carnegie Hall and have 5,000 or 10,000 people in the audience and start banging out a tune? Those people that play at Carnegie Hall a piano, they practice. They practice so much that their fingers probably bleed. I don't know why anyone on the Twitter sphere or on YouTube or any other place think that they can open up a brokerage account and start trading away and become a maestro without practicing. I said to Susan, I said, Fred is going to do exceptionally well. You want to know why? I had every intention of sending Fred our scorecard. But in the beginning, I don't send the scorecard because I want to just for them to learn and to see what we're doing. But on the very first day, he sent me his first trades, and he sent me the scorecard. And I said, Fred, I didn't send you the scorecard. How the devil did you do it? He says, well, I saw an image of it, and I made it. He made the exact same scorecard. In fact, he made it better. The only issue I have, Fred, is you put the $sign on the back end. I don't know if that's a Canadian thing, but you know, when you think about it, it probably should go at the back end. So I said to Susan, I said, Fred's going to be a lot of fun. Fred has a passion for this, and he gets it. He's not going to waste his time. Now, I'm going to show you his scorecards. Not just for one day, not just for 1 week. And yes, our Q school is 3+ weeks. We have 4 weeks of Fred's trading. Now, I've been asked, I've referenced Fred. And Fred, I hope you don't mind. Very proud of you. And you should be very proud of what you've done. How many hours did Fred do this? Well, he's in a position where he can put in quite a few hours. And I know that he was watching the Swing Machine and some of the other tools that we there for quite a few hours every single day. He wanted to be there. And he certainly demonstrated he had a passion. He wants to do it. And I think that's also a big part of this. But at the same time, he really didn't trade a whole lot. So what Fred was doing was monitoring primarily the Swing Machine, but some of the other tools. And he was placing his simulated trades electronically on his platform. And by the way, he has a challenge in Canada because he doesn't have the exact same version of TradeStation that I have. They have a relationship with another very fine company, Interactive Brokers, which is the case in other parts of the country. But let me show you what he did in his first week. He had a total of 32 trades. He netted $13,963. Excuse me. This is his last week. Let's go to the first week. I'm sorry. I was out of sequence there. His first week, he did 31 trades. He netted $8,548. 31 trades. This is how he calculates his profit factor. And if you don't know what profit factor is, or you're following someone that doesn't know what profit factor is, then you probably want to stop and reassess. But this was his gross profit. This is his gross loss, including commissions, and they have high commissions in Canada. And his profit factor was 21, meaning he's making $21 for every dollar he lost. Now, there's other notes in here. In the interest of time, you can look, but I won't comment. But there's a lot of really good stuff. That was his first week. Second week, 20 trades, net $3,688. This was his gross profit, gross loss, profit factor. Week number 3, $11,985. Now, this is trading one mini contract in these various markets. A total of 52 trades. He's getting more comfortable. This is it, his gross profit, gross loss, profit factor. And then the last week, which I started with, which I didn't mean to, 13,963, 32 trades. This is his win-loss information down here, but front and center, and here's his gross profit, gross loss for the week, a profit factor of 8. Fred's gross profit for the 4 weeks, $43,454. His gross loss, $6,008.54. His net for 4 weeks, $37,445.46. A profit factor of 7.23, meaning he was making $7.23 for every dollar he lost. His win-loss ratio, which is a feel-good metric but not really that important to us, was 69%. Folks, that's what Fred did the last 4 weeks in a very controversial market, a very volatile market. Let me ask you, do you know what you did? Do you have any idea? You see, if you don't have these metrics and you don't know what they mean and you don't know how to keep score, all you're looking at is your account value from day to day, week to week, month to month. Embedded in that is greed and fear, and you will lose. Because if you don't have these metrics that he was tracking and watching very, very closely, you don't know what to work on. If this interests you, feel free to give us a call. Feel free to visit the website. Feel free to give us a call at 813-758-8263. Now, let me just say this to everybody. What we said to Fred, we say to everyone, and I'll repeat it here. We do not make specific recommendations to buy or sell anything. Fred did this all on his own. We do not solicit funds to manage. We do not manage anyone else's money. It isn't worth it to us. And please understand, the reason why we do Stock Market Caddy is simply the way that Susan and I trade is absolutely boring. We have been doing this a long time. We had been doing this for 10 years before we started Stock Market Caddy. I started Stock Market Caddy simply because I was bored. It's been a pleasure meeting all of the people, Fred, Chris, Brian, Steve, Jeff. Excuse me for not naming everybody. Everyone has been a pleasure. I learn every time we do this. Every time a person goes through Q School, I also learn, and Susan does too. It makes us better. But if you are getting it done with whatever it is you're doing, keep doing it. But if you're not getting it done, I'm not saying that you should come to us. I think, though, that you should stop, assess what you're doing, assess who you're following, assess what you're learning. If you're not learning every day, every week, then you're not growing and you're not getting better. We are much, much better, not just with our own trading, but also hopefully teaching others how to take control over their own destiny. So we want to close with a big thank you to Fred. Fred, it was our pleasure. It really was. And we want to also say thank you to those that have given us their 14 or 15 minutes and listened to this story. We hope you found it interesting. We hope you found it illustrative as to who we are and who we are not and what the Q School is all about. There's an old saying, 90% of short putts don't go in the hole. It's up to you. And maybe one day we'll be telling your story or more importantly, you'll be writing your own. Have a great weekend, everybody. Call anytime, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., including weekends, 813-758-8263. Thanks, Fred. Thank you.